stranger to the Greater Grace Church, for he has preached this opportunity in this moment for the last several years. So without any further ado, just point in Bishop Guns' direction and say, Bishop, we showed up. Because God is trying to get something to us. I dare you to high five your neighbor and say, neighbor, I'm ready for the word. Bishop John Guns, the great pastor of the St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church in Jacksonville, Florida. Come on, let's celebrate God for the Bishop of the Lord's Church. Come on, Bishop John E. Guns. Come on, give God praise for him as he prepares to bless us. Y'all either love Jesus or y'all crazy. Or maybe you're just crazy about Jesus. It's good to be here. Yesterday, I was getting two different messaging from this area. My brother was texting me going, are you coming because you crazy? Pastor was texting me going, man, we so excited. The Lord's getting ready to move. I was so schizophrenic. My brother said, you can't drive on them roads. You're going to die. I said, oh, the roads are clearing up right now. So, guess who I believe? When I texted my brother and told him I had landed, he was like, okay. He ain't said nothing else. Jones, you are now officially my blood brother. I the snow tonight. It is good to be here, and I think it's something incredible about sacrifice. I think it's something amazing that happens when people defy the odds to encounter worship. Everybody ain't built for sacrifice. That's why everybody ain't built for greatness. Because there is something that happens when you press beyond the obvious limitations into a place of incredible opportunity. So I'm glad to be here. Pastor Jones is both son and little brother to me, and I love him until we both die. And that's going to be a long time. Amen. To his lovely wife. Yes. Lady. Normally when I come, she has some mysterious cold that gets healed the moment I get on the plane. But tonight she's here in the Lord's name. And I'm glad to see my sister. I love her so much. And to all of my friends and family who are here tonight, it is a joy. And to the Greater Grace family, God bless you. Isn't this wonderful? Doesn't it feel good to be settled? Yeah. It's good to be settled. So the word of the Lord tonight kind of meets this moment. And I want you to turn with me. I wrestled with what to say. Because people who come through this kind of weather doesn't need anybody to play with their emotions. When you press like this verb, you need God to send you home, sitting up on the side of your bed, shaking your head, declaring, I'm going to get everything I just heard tonight. And so in Zechariah chapter 4 and verse 6, really familiar passage, really familiar. But this is the word the Lord gave me for tonight. The angel, I'm reading from the Good News Translation, the angel told me to give Zerubbabel this message from the Lord. You will succeed, not by military might or by your own strength, but by my spirit. But you will succeed. You will. Turn to your neighbor, look at them and say, neighbor, this time it's going to happen. All right. Tell somebody else, this time it's going to happen. Father, thank you for this time. In Jesus' name. You may be seated. This time it's going to happen. Judah, God's chosen, was given an amazing and incredible and extraordinary assignment. Rebuild the temple. Recapture the glory of the former season. And at the same time, watch this, begin a new and exciting chapter in the history of Judah. Let me make sure that you understand what I just said. Judah, God's chosen, was given an amazing assignment.
Yeah.
They were given an amazing assignment. Notice they were given an amazing assignment. Rebuild the temple. Recapture the glory of a former season.
Yeah.
And initiate through your commitment to me, as God would declare, a new and exciting chapter in the history of Judah. They were uniquely called by God to establish his name in the earth by doing something that none of their enemies thought possible and none of their forefathers envisioned. They were expected by the sovereign God to do this, to finish. Touch someone and say finish.
Finish.
Yet this desire of the divine came at an extremely awkward and very inappropriate time. For while God was requiring them to complete the assignment of rebuilding the temple, they were, you ready? A depressed, demoralized people in a distressing, depressive season with decimated and diminished resources. Okay, I'm going to back up because you need to understand the awkward contradiction of the call as it came in a condition that contradicted the capacity to achieve it. Here it is. God said, rebuild the temple. That requires resources. That requires political allies. That requires military force. God said, rebuild the temple with stuff that you don't have. Why? Because they were a depressed, demoralized people in a distressing, depressive season with decimated and diminished resources. Okay, fine, I'll come get you because I don't want you to miss this. God told them, rebuild something that would be a monument to his glory and an incredible, undeniable expression of the ingenuity and genius of the divine as it is initiated through human agency. And yet those that God calls are not rich and prosperous, nor are they confident and successful. They are disappointed, demoralized, distressed, depressed, with decimated and diminished resources. Okay, I'm gonna come get you because you're acting like you ain't got it. Many of you are sitting around tonight wondering why you are not happy and fulfilled. Here's why: because God is not going to wait until you have it in your hand before he requires you to put your life in his hand, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you have, it matters what he declares. So notice this: in this season of Judah, they didn't have money, they didn't have clout, and they didn't have influence, and yet they had a word from God that said, with limited resources, do what you cannot do on your own, because I've called you to achieve it. And so even though you are depressed and demoralized, distressed and depressed, and even though you have decimated and diminished resources, you are still capable to do this because I said you're able to do it. And let me make sure you don't miss this contradiction and embedded in this awkward call to do something that is both extraordinary and exposing. Here it is. He said, rebuild the temple. But watch this, Melvin. Rebuild the temple, but you got to do it without having the resources to do it. Okay, Jones, I'm coming to help you. At some point in your life, you got to decide that God is too big to deny and your problems are too small to let them intimidate you. Because at some point, you got to decide that your God is so extraordinary until no matter what you're dealing with, you are going to accomplish what you're called to accomplish. So watch this. And because it may be tough and tumultuous, it is still the will of God that you finish what you start. I need you to shake somebody's hand and tell them, I dare you to get excited, because this season is when God proves to you that he is in charge of everything. They were depressed and demoralized people in a distressing and depressing season with decimated and diminished resources. In essence, it was a tough, tumultuous time, but despite it all, God says, build it. Wow. Build it. Yes, accept the challenge of my will And no matter how overwhelmed you appear to be in the natural, embrace my promise and understand that my promise is so amazingly embedded with the overflow of opportunities and resources until if you trust the promise will negate your limitations. You'll get that on the way home. He said, try. He said, face it. He said, don't settle. Don't settle, but believe in me and what I'm calling you to do. In other words, God is saying to them, Jones, it's possible, even with all the stuff you're facing, Lisa. Well, I declare that as Judah had to rebuild, so do you. You must now rebuild your life so it looks like what God wants it to look like. You must now rebuild greater grace so that the former glory of grace will not compare to the latter glory of grace. You must embrace the fact that in this season, you are assigned to live a life so worthy unto God until God purposefully promotes you and intentionally prospers you. In this season, your assignment is to be whole and happy and joyous and full of life, intentionally driven by a spirit of commitment and accountability. And despite pain and difficulty, which is a part of the process, y'all ain't got that yet, despite pain and difficulty and rejection, which is a part of the process, okay, I'm gonna come get you. Despite pain, difficulty, hurt, loneliness, despair, exasperation, and sometimes exhaustion, which is a part of the process, you still ain't got it. Despite the stuff you hate, which is necessary to shape your character so you can manage the bigger size of what God has for you. Despite all of it, God said you will succeed, you will prosper, and nothing, I mean nothing, will cause you to mismanage or misappropriate all that God has for you, because when it's all said and done, when you get ready, when God gets done with you in this season, everything that tried you is going to submit to you, and everything that put a mouth on you going to have to change its opinion of you, because your destiny is tied to God's purpose. In this season, then, trials are being turned into triumphant testimonies. In this season, God is going to make it happen again. This time, it's going to happen. Judah was in an awkward place because they really didn't know what to do with the demand from God. These two candlesticks in the form of a prophet and a king found themselves with the requirement to carry out the purpose of God while dealing with a community or a nation of people who were so broken by their past oppression till they found no way, no reason to even remotely believe that they were capable of doing any of this. Their past season had done a marvelous work on them. It had snatched them of their confidence and robbed them of their capacity and made them feel as if they were not possible. They were not capable of doing it. Their past season just broke their spirits, and out of nowhere, in the darkness of their past comes the revelation of their future embedded in an instruction in their present. Go rebuild the temple. Y'all still ain't got it. When God gets ready to set you free from your past, he ain't going to send a prophet to buy you and lay hands on you. He's going to send an instruction that's going to drive you into your future by making you recognize that everything you're in is only designed to get you to everything you're created for. In other words, the Lord is going to throw you in the pool, but you can shout tonight, because if he throws you in the pool and it's in over your head, either he's going to teach you how to swim on the spot, or he's going to take the water out the pool, but you ain't going to drown. So notice what God says to them. It is an amazing statement. First, God says to them, he says, how you going to conquer these challenges? How you going to deal with all this stuff? How you going to manage all this stuff that's in over your head? You don't have enough money to even begin. You don't have the political allies to get the resources to even access what Solomon accessed when he was building the temple. You are in the midst of a depressive season, and God is talking to you and telling you, expand. My God, I don't know who I'm talking to, but John Moore, God is saying, with little and limited, go be big, because in this season, you don't go soft, you go hard. That's the thing from 2018. In our church, we go hard, because if you don't go hard in this season, you're going to be jealous of people who are actually supposed to be celebrating you. So in this season, even if you don't look like you got it because of who you serve, preach, sir. Okay, watch this. So listen and watch God. It's real simple. Verse 6, y'all be seated. I'm trying to get to the end of this. Here it is. Verse 6, he says, you're going to succeed. Wow. This isn't John. This isn't Trump. This isn't Jones. This isn't Furby. This isn't Don. This is God. This is Yahweh. This is Yahweh. This is the creative force of the universe that's called everything into existence. This is the one who embodies omniscient, omnipresence, and omnipotent in the same reality and forces everything that exists in this reality to submit to him at some point or another. So this is Yahweh. This ain't somebody who needs to go get permission from somebody to back up what he's getting ready to say. This is God. Okay, y'all don't know when to shout. I forget y'all. I'll come over here. This ain't somebody who's got to have a meeting with somebody so he can see if he can gather somebody to help him accomplish what he wants. No, this is Yahweh. This is God. And he says, you're going to succeed.
You're going to succeed, sir.
Really? Watch this. But it won't be by military might or by your own strength, but by my spirit. Might. Alliances built on mutual goals grounded in military strength. Power, individual ability, or intelligence, which creates the illusion of superiority. He says there will not be the awkward marriage of political power merged with political or military strength, and then the limited capacity of human intelligence just because it appears to be better than that which it is actually trying to outsmart. You'll get it on the way home. See, the reason why some of y'all think you're smart is because you hang around dumb people. You ain't really smart. You just chose a circle that makes you look like it. I'm sorry, I thought I'd throw that out there for free. So not by might. Alliances built on mutual goals grounded in military strength or cotton power based upon individuality or intellect. No, you shall do this based upon me, which means, watch this, Dom. In this season of your life, there's a shifting of the burden from your capacity to God's competency. You will go from feeling the burden to actually enjoying the demand. Wow. Okay. You will go from being overwhelmed by it to being inspired by the challenge. In fact, you'll wake up every day and say, what's next, baby? Because as you watch God do stuff you could not have imagined could be done through somebody like you, you are going to find every day a day of enormous opportunities, which means you're going to mute the voices of doubt and you're going to unleash the voices of faith, because you will begin to discover that God has never been limited. He just didn't have anybody who trusted him. Okay, watch this. He says the burden then is not on you. It's not on you. It's not on you. Tell your neighbor it's not on you. It's not on you. The might and the power, the strength and the weight doesn't rest on you. It rests on God. The mere presence of relationships are not negated here. It does not mean that relationships are unimportant or unnecessary. What it means is the relationships that will be a part, Akeem, of the accomplishment of the purpose of God will be under the absolute authority of God. So you ain't even got to make them do nothing. You just got to be in position, and God will require them based upon his purpose, which means that you're waiting on people to catch a hole and you're not walking in. Okay, you'll get it. You'll get it. You'll get it. You're so busy thinking you got to talk people into God's will, until what you fail to understand is God doesn't need you to talk them into it. He needs you to walk it. If you walk it, he will make people help you even if they don't like you. Okay, I'm going to throw this out for free. And sometimes, because you are harboring pain and disappointment, which makes it difficult for you to trust anybody, you will find yourself unable to attract that which is assigned to help you accomplish it, because you're too damaged to be a powerful vessel whereby other people find their purpose embedded in your purpose. You still ain't got it. So some of you need to get excited, because the people who hurt you actually qualified you for promotion, because it was necessary for them to reject you. The fact they lied on you, or maybe even told the truth about you, is a part of the shaping of your character, because you need to know you can't trust them even if you need them, because in this season I trust God, I don't trust people.
Yes, sir.
God is going to make it easier. Melvin's going to make it easier. He's going to make it easier. Tell your neighbor he's taking weight off me. He's going to make it easier. And he's not going to place it on me. He's going to ensure that I can carry my part of the bargain. So how is this possible? Well, 3 things. Watch this, and then I'll give you my last piece, and then I'm done. How is this possible? Well, here it is. This is possible because you are devoted to who God is. You are dependent upon what God declares, and you are directed by what God is doing. Let me come back and get you. You are devoted to who God is. Watch the amazing revelation. I'm going to borrow the King James. Don't read from it for preaching purposes. I'm going to borrow it for the sake of this point. Watch this. The interesting thing, it says, and the Lord said, Yahweh, and the Lord said, you will succeed. And the Lord said, you will succeed. And then at the end, it says, saith the Lord of hosts. Wait a minute. Okay. When it is initially spoken, it is the Lord. But on the back end, it's the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts now moves God from creator to military force. And so basically, what God says is in this season, I'm doing all the fighting, you do the building. Okay, you still ain't got it. Because he said, watch this, back up to this promise. Notice, watch this. He says, Lord of hosts on the end of the promise, which means I'm going to sandwich my creative authority with my military influence and produce a success for you. Y'all still ain't got it. You ain't got to fight nobody. You just got to build. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, give up your sword. It's time for hammer and nails. You are about to enter an amazing season of construction because the God of hosts is doing the warring. Y'all be seeing, watch this. You got to be devoted to who he is. Who is he? He is a warrior fighting off people who are trying to destroy your purpose, your destiny, and distract you from the things of God. He's fighting off people, said, who think that they know you well enough to get in your business and to somehow distract you from your purpose. He's fighting them off. Let them jokers run their mouth. Let them say whatever they want to say. Let them have an opinion because eventually they're going to become your marketing agent. Because most of y'all ain't got money for PR. So God said, I'm going to use your haters to get your vision out there. Because when they start talking about, well, Jones done moved again, I wonder how long he's going to be here. God said, I'm going to send so many people to see the miracle on Oak Grove until they're going to wonder how anybody would ever put their mouth on something that's really God. I need you to look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, you got to know who I know about God. Well, I know that he's Jehovah Jireh. Well, I know that he's Jehovah Tiskanu. Well, I know that he's Jehovah Shalom. The real question is, what do you know about him? Okay, watch this. Y'all be seated. Y'all be seated. How is it possible? Because you're devoted to who God is. He's the creative force that releases the call. And then he's the Lord of hosts that protects you while you're in construction mode. But then it's possible because you're dependent upon what God declares. Here it is. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. Okay. God, what am I supposed to do with people with might and power? Do what I say. Okay, you missed it. What am I supposed to do with people who look like they got more than me? Do what I say. Okay. What am I supposed to do with people who seem like they got it figured out and I look like I'm crazy? Do what I say. Okay, y'all still ain't got it. That was the shock moment. Because here's your victory. Your victory is in the fact that he does not remove your situations. He leaves them so he can magnify the genius of his grace in your life. Depending on what he declares. But here's the other thing. Directed by what God is doing. But what is God doing? Watch this. Here's what he's doing. He's raising you up to finish what others said you weren't capable of even starting.
That's heavy, sir. That's heavy.
Okay. So watch this. So how's it possible? Well, first here it is. Devoted to who God is, dependent upon what God declares, and directed by what God is doing. So here's my close. It's simple. If you're devoted and dependent and directed by God, God will do 4 things. Now, then I am on my way out here. When you are devoted, dependent, and directed by God, God will do 4 things. First thing, he will subdue what seems insurmountable. Okay, here it is. Ready? Here it is. Verse 7. And there shall look like there's a mountain in front of you. Okay. Here's what I love about God.
Yeah.
He makes your reputation on stuff that's already resolved. He only needs you to come to the fight. Get it on the way home. Goliath was already defeated. He just needed somebody to go down to the plain. You ain't got it yet. The cross was already conquered and the grave was already over. He just needed somebody to go through 3 hours on a Friday. Because he said, if I can get you to do the process, the mountains are not a problem. Can you look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, it really ain't as big as you think it is. The only reason it's big because you keep looking at it at ground level. When you look at it at the level of your faith, it becomes the size of your victory. Okay. Y'all be sure. I was flying in.
Preach, Bishop.
Flying in. And I noticed I was flying in how seemingly level the snow was. It didn't seem like much from 10,000 feet. As I flew in, it looked all the same. But when I got off the plane and was walking, I saw piles of snow. And it dawned on me, it's been that size the whole time. It was my perspective that determined how I saw it. Y'all still ain't got it. Your problem is that the mountain ain't really a mountain when you operating up here. It's a mountain when you looking at it at your level. But when you elevate yourself, God will subdue your insurmountable stuff. Every time you think you need $1, God's gonna send 2. Every time you think 4 people are left, God's gonna send 5. Every time you think people have given up, God gonna have somebody walk up to you and say, Pastor, we getting ready to do this thing. God is about to prove to you that everything that looked insurmountable in one season is actually already conquered in this one. So if you voted directed by God, I'll do better tomorrow. God will subdue what seems insurmountable. Secondly, he'll supply what's been lacking. Here's what's amazing. He purposefully launched them into the darkness of faith with limited resources so he could build the faith of generations to come. You want to know how I know? Because we're preaching the text. Wow. See, most of you don't know the size of your life because you're stuck in the size of your moment.
Preach. That's good, sir.
And since you're stuck in your moment, you don't understand the size of your life. The size of your life is God is obligated by what he wants to do to make sure you have what you need. Because watch this, lack is a condition of the mind. It is not a statement of existence. Because you only lack when you don't ever have the ability to get it.
Right.
Okay, I'll come get you because some of y'all done forgot how good God is. Check your last year and how many times you thought you had hit the wall and how God kept making a way. Okay, I'll shout by myself. You don't even know when to shout because you're so busy counting what you ain't got money for until you don't know how to celebrate what you've been paying for. When I walked in here a few months ago, won't none of this here. When I walked in here a few months ago, there wasn't no carpet. It was a jacked up room. But when I walk in here tonight, you got everything in order. Where did the money come from? It came from the God that keeps giving $1 here, 50 cents here, 75. I need somebody, John Moore, to get excited tonight because he is going to supply. Let me see. Not by might, nor by power, by God, he'll subdue. What seems insurmountable, he'll supply what's been lacking. Wait a minute. Jones, this is for you. And he'll sustain you till you finish.
I receive it.
It's in the text.
Show it to
It's
me.
in the text. It's in the text. He says, listen, he said, obstacles as great as mountains will disappear. You will rebuild the temple. As you put the last stone. There's some discussion about whether this is a cornerstone or whether this is an apex stone. It don't really matter. He says, when you put the last one in, everybody gonna go to dancing and shouting. I need you to look at your neighbor and say, boo boo, you don't understand. He's gonna beat me until I put the okay. God is in the business of sustaining you, which means sometimes to sustain you, he's got to hide you from people who think they control you. But God, when God gets ready to elevate you, he will sustain you. So God, whatever you get ready to launch next week, don't celebrate the launch, celebrate the completion. Because next Sunday ain't about starting, it's about finishing. With enough faith, act like you got a stone, and in the name of Jesus, stick it somewhere and say, I'm going to finish this. And let me help you. Y'all be seeing in verse 10, it's crazy, because verse 9 and 10, he says, the Lord who laid the foundation, and he gonna finish the building. And even though they see little progress, tell them I'm working in the slowness of their capacity to produce a finished product that will be about the acceleration of my ability. It looks like you ain't moving. But notice, you ain't digressing. You so busy watching other folks' pace till you become discouraged by the fact that their pace is not your assignment. Okay. So watch this. I'm closing. Here it is. If you're devoted and dependent and directed by God, you will subdue what's insurmountable. He'll supply what's been lacking. He will sustain you until you finish. But here's the last piece. You ready? Here's the powerful thing. It's embedded in the text, Akeem. It's embedded in the text. If you are devoted and dependent and directed by God, he will stamp you as his choice. Here's the power of how God operates. He puts you in over your head on purpose. So he can legitimize you as the one he chose. Your problem is you're running around looking for legitimacy from people who only have a limited season of vision. I'm tired. I'm getting ready to go. So for many of you in this room, you spent your life looking for applause. And I say this in a lot of places, and I need you to get this. You spend your life looking for applause from people with no hands. And standing ovations from folk with no names. You super glued your self-esteem to opinions of people that ain't built to be with you when you put in the last stone.
Oh, that's some words.
Because when you are led by God's Spirit, he stamps you. I need you to look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I really do love you, but you ain't got the last word for me. Because when you look at my life, it is God who stamps me. And when you look at the Bible, you see plenty of people who were questioned by people, but stamped by God. Abraham was questioned by the servant, but God stamped him as the father of the nation. David was questioned by anointed. You're running around trying to get approval from people that are not built to stab you. But shake your neighbor's hand and say, neighbor, I've got really good news tonight. That when you trust God, God will stamp you. Come here, Jesus. They put their mouth on me and they said that I was a bastard. They said I was not who I said I was. And so on Friday they killed me. But 3 days later, God raised me up. I need you to shake your neighbor's hand and say, neighbor, I got good news for you. The God I serve, He's able to stamp you approved. Is there anybody here that's a living witness that you've been through some things you thought you wouldn't come through, but the Lord, tell you together, I dare you to tell somebody, if it had not been, if it had not been for the Lord on my side, if it had not been, ain't it all right? Ain't it all right? Ain't it all right? Shake somebody's hand and tell them, I got good news for you. I got good news for you. Be not dismayed. Whatever be done, God will. Won't He do it? God will. Won't He do it? God will. Say it. Say it. It's not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit. Jones, this time it's going to happen. Everybody stand. I'll do better tomorrow. Many of you in this room have been purposefully positioned in limited resources at the commencement of a thing.
Thank you for preaching that tonight.
He meant to make sure you didn't have it started. Because you get too comfortable when you got it in your hands and you stop seeking direction as to what to do. The funniest thing, Jones and I walked through a whole lot in life. The thing that I see when I walked in here tonight was this ain't the last stone, but it's the one that's going to rebirth the season of opportunity. It ain't the last one. It's just the foundation for a new season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Some of you are sitting here. And John, some of you have stepped into places of just enormous faith. I mean, so much faith. Amen. Till some days you go, God, why would you dare give me a word I can't deny and did not give me the stuff to be successful? He said, I did. I gave you faith. Wow. I told y'all the theme of our church this year is we go hard and we go big in 18. The Lord told me, y'all be seated real quick, keep playing. That the first day of the year, and I got this group of guys I text once a week.